Have you ever wondered how something that once felt so right slowly unraveled into confusion, distance, and silence, without a big fight, without a betrayal, just a slow fade? The truth is, relationships rarely break because of a single, obvious blow. More often, they're worn down by quiet, unnoticed habits. Tiny, repeated patterns that silently erode love and connection. Today, we're going to uncover those subtle behaviors. And once you see them, you can't unsee them. You'll start noticing the shifts, not only in your partner but in yourself. And that's where transformation begins. Starts so subtly, so quietly, you barely notice it. You feel something, maybe disappointment, maybe hurt. But instead of bringing it up, you brush it aside. You tell yourself, it's not worth it. Or, I don't want to start a fight. Or worse, maybe I'm overreacting. And so you swallow it. One small moment passes, then another, and then another. Before long, you've become an expert at hiding how you feel behind a smile and a soft, I'm fine. But here's the truth no one tells you. Emotional withholding doesn't protect the relationship. It starves it. You're still there, yes, but the real you, the vulnerable, expressive human you, is locked behind walls. And when someone can't access your true emotions, they stop truly connecting with you. It doesn't happen overnight. It's like slowly turning down the volume on your heart. Until one day, they say, you seem distant, and you don't even know how to explain why. Emotional intimacy isn't built by avoiding conflict. It's built by being brave enough to say, that hurt me, or I need more, or even just, can we talk? The fear that you'll seem too much is what keeps you from being known. But when you silence your pain to keep the peace, you end up creating a relationship where only half of you shows up. And no one can truly love a half version of you. And then there's that unspoken tally in your head. You don't mean to keep it, but it's there. I planned the last 3 date nights. I'm always the one making the effort. They never ask how I'm doing. You might not say it out loud, but those mental check marks start to add up. And soon, every loving act starts to feel like a transaction. You begin giving not from a place of love, but from a place of expectation. And when it's not reciprocated the way you hoped, resentment creeps in. Keeping score turns love into a competition. You stop seeing the person for who they are and start seeing them as someone who owes you. But the truth is, love that thrives is love that's given freely. Not because you're trying to get something back, but because it's who you are. There's this belief we carry deep down that says, if they really love me, they should just know. Know when something's wrong. Know what we need. Know how to show up for us without being asked. But that belief, though romantic, is dangerous. Because what we're really doing is setting someone up to fail. We assume that the depth of their love should come with a psychic ability to read our minds. And when they don't, it doesn't just disappoint us, it wounds us. But here's the truth. No matter how much someone loves you, they are still human. They come from a different past with different emotional languages, different fears, different instincts. If you don't tell them what matters to you, how can they possibly give it? And yet we stay quiet, out of fear, out of pride, out of a deep need to feel seen without having to ask for it. But silence isn't a test of love. It's a barrier to it. Love grows in clarity, not confusion. When you give someone the roadmap to your heart, you're not weakening the magic, you're strengthening the connection. It's not about demanding more. It's about giving them the chance to love you better. Then there's this habit that seems so noble on the surface, choosing peace over conflict. You think, if I bring this up, it'll just cause drama. Or they're stressed already, I shouldn't add to it. And so you suppress. You let it slide. You carry the weight so the relationship doesn't have to. But what you're really doing is making peace look like silence. And silence becomes distance. And that distance becomes confusion. Over time, the person you're with doesn't know what's bothering you, only that something is. You seem colder, shorter, more withdrawn, and they're left trying to solve a puzzle with missing pieces. What feels like selflessness is actually self-erasure. Being honest isn't about being confrontational, it's about being real. Real with what you feel, real with what you need, and real with the fact that true peace isn't the absence of conflict. It's the presence of honesty. There comes a point in many relationships where you begin to wonder, am I too much? So you start dialing parts of yourself down. You laugh a little quieter. You share a little less. You tuck away your opinions, your passions, your quirks. Anything that feels like it might rock the boat. And what begins as compromise slowly becomes self-abandonment. You think you're becoming more lovable by being easier, more agreeable, less intense. But here's the truth. You're not making yourself easier to love. You're making yourself harder to truly see. And no one can fully love what they can't fully see. The irony is, the very things you hide might be the things someone would admire most if you gave them a chance. You were never meant to mold yourself into the image of who you think they want. You were meant to stand as you are and be loved for that. Because when someone loves you only when you're small, they were never equipped to love you when you're at your fullest. Stop shrinking to fit into a version of love that isn't built to hold all of you. And then there's this quiet kind of suffering that happens when you keep waiting for change without ever asking for it. You hope, you wish, you drop hints, you wait for the right moment, for them to magically understand what's missing. You convince yourself that if you just wait long enough, things will shift. But love isn't a guessing game. And it isn't telepathy. Hoping that someone will become more attentive, more committed, more emotionally available without having a real conversation is like standing at a locked door and waiting for it to open on its own. Change doesn't come from silence. It comes from courage. From saying, this matters to me, even when it feels uncomfortable. From being honest about what you need instead of pretending you're fine. You're not asking for too much. You're asking for clarity, for intention, for effort. And if you can't talk about what needs to change, nothing ever will. The greatest tragedy isn't that people don't change. It's that we never give them the chance to. In so many relationships, the idea of love becomes tangled up with availability. You start to believe that being deeply committed means always answering the phone, always being emotionally ready, always making yourself accessible, no matter what. And slowly, without even realizing, you begin to equate your worth with your willingness to drop everything for someone else. But what feels like love can quietly turn into self-neglect. Constant availability isn't closeness, it's overexposure. When someone has access to you every second without boundaries, it becomes easy to take you for granted. There's no space to miss you, no time to reflect on your value, no moment to realize your presence is a gift, not a given. Boundaries aren't rejection. They're a declaration of your self-respect. When you say, I can't talk right now, or I need a moment to myself, you're not pushing someone away. You're showing them that you also have a life, energy, and priorities that matter. And from that respect, true intimacy grows. You teach people how to love you by how you love yourself. Space doesn't weaken love, it sharpens it. And finally, one of the most heartbreaking patterns is forgetting to choose each other. It doesn't happen in an explosive moment. It happens in the slow, quiet comfort of routine. You stop asking how their day was. You stop saying thank you for the little things. You stop looking at them with the same wonder you once did. Not because the love is gone, but because life got busy, familiar, predictable. But love isn't something you feel once. It's something you nurture daily. Just like a garden doesn't stay alive because you watered it once, a relationship doesn't stay vibrant unless you keep choosing, keep tending, keep showing up. The small moments are where love either deepens or dies. When you choose presence over autopilot. When you choose patience over assumptions. When you say, I still see you, even when the rest of the world is moving fast. The strongest relationships are not the ones with the grandest gestures. They're the ones where, in a million tiny ways, two people keep saying, I still choose you. We often wait for the big signs, the dramatic moments, the obvious red flags. But most relationships don't end with a bang. They dissolve quietly, in the choices we didn't even realize we were making. So here's your moment to reflect. Which of these habits do you recognize in your story? What silent patterns have been robbing you of the connection, love, and peace you deserve? Let's start a conversation below. Drop a comment, share what resonated most. Was there a moment in this speech that felt like it spoke right to you? If this message stirred something inside you, don't forget to like this video, share it with someone who needs it, and subscribe for more motivational insights and real talk about love and life. And before you go, I want to hear from you. What relationship topic should we tackle next? Leave your ideas in the comments. This is your space. This is your journey. And we're in it together. Let's keep growing together.